Level 1. Omega level elemental masters. Omega mutants. At the first level are those whose powers take natural forces and push them to absolute, unlimited extremes. They do not reshape reality or rewrite physics, but they master a fundamental element with no upper limit. This includes mutants like Storm, whose control over weather goes far beyond atmospheric manipulation. Storm is not simply summoning storms. She is directing the entire electromagnetic and thermodynamic behavior of the planet, effortlessly harmonizing complex systems like air pressure, ionic charge, ocean currents, and cosmic radiation. Her Omega classification comes from the fact that her power is not capped by biology or energy reserves. The only limit is her will. At maximum focus, she can alter continental weather, disrupt planetary ecosystems, and manipulate cosmic-scale phenomena such as solar winds and galactic ion storms. Another example is Iceman, whose Omega status comes from absolute control over temperature at the molecular level. He doesn't create ice. He manipulates thermal energy down to zero. He can freeze oceans, regenerate from water vapor, create ice golems with independent movement, and disperse his consciousness through any moisture source on Earth. He is functionally immortal as long as water exists, making him an elemental constant. Level 1 establishes the baseline of Omega power, infinite mastery over a single elemental domain. Level 2. Omega-level molecular and physical manipulators. Level 2 moves from elements to matter itself. These Omega mutants manipulate the building blocks of existence: atoms, molecules, mass, and force. They do not merely influence the environment. They rewrite its composition and structure. A prime example is Magneto, classified as an Omega mutant due to his absolute control over electromagnetism. His powers extend far beyond metal manipulation. He controls the most fundamental force governing charged particles. He can manipulate the Earth's magnetic field, generate planetary-scale electromagnetic pulses, stop neurological processes, bend the path of light, and create force fields strong enough to withstand nuclear detonations. His Omega status is tied to the limitless potential of electromagnetic control, a force that governs everything from stars to atomic bonds. Another member of this level is Vulcan, whose Omega classification comes from his total command of energy. He can absorb, redirect, or extinguish any form of energy, including magic and exotic cosmic radiation. His potential has no ceiling. He can overload entire star systems, manipulate energy from dimensional sources, and suppress the powers of other mutants by canceling the energy signature that fuels them. Level 2 Omega mutants are not dangerous because of chaos or unpredictability. They are dangerous because they control physics itself, with no upper boundary dictated by their mutation. Level 3. Omega-level spatial and dimensional manipulators. Level 3 represents Omega mutants whose powers transcend the physical world by manipulating space, dimensional barriers, and spatial topology. These mutants do not bend reality. They rewrite the geometry governing it. The most iconic example of this level is Nightcrawler, whose teleportation has evolved into full Omega-level spatial manipulation. His mutation connects him to a branching extra-dimensional network, allowing him to bend, fold, or bypass space instantaneously. When fully pushed, his teleportation can cover planetary distances, create spatial fractures, or remove objects from a location without displacement shock. Another example is Manifold, an Omega teleporter whose powers involve communicating with space itself. He doesn't teleport, he asks the fabric of the universe to reposition matter. His mutation allows for instant doorways across galaxies, quantum-accurate placement of objects, and spatial translocation unaffected by gravity, velocity, or dimensional orientation. At full potential, he can move armies, redirect celestial objects, or collapse spatial pathways that connect multiversal locations. Level 3 Omega mutants are terrifying not because they overpower others, but because they bypass distance, barriers, and location, the fundamental constraints of physical existence. Level 4. Omega-level temporal and probability controllers. Level 4. Omega mutants manipulate time, fate, and probability, functioning at the threshold where physics becomes narrative. These mutants can alter outcomes, rewrite timelines, and adjust causality at its foundation. Tempo represents the chronal manipulation side of this level. Her Omega potential includes slowing, accelerating, reversing, or suspending time across large areas. She can freeze armies mid-motion, age structures instantly, extend moments indefinitely, or negate time-based attacks. At maximum output, she can fracture localized timelines, creating branching temporal states that cannot be resolved without external intervention. On the probability side stands Domino, whose mutation is often misunderstood as luck until analyzed at omega depth. Her power is the subconscious manipulation of probability fields, altering outcomes on a quantum level. The reason her abilities scale infinitely is because probability itself has no fixed boundary. When fully unleashed, she can force impossible outcomes to occur, redirect catastrophic events, or create success scenarios with statistical certainty. Level 4 marks the boundary between physical omegas and metaphysical omegas, mutants who operate where time and outcome are no longer fixed. Level 5. Omega-level psionic entities. Level 5 covers omega mutants whose powers operate within the domain of mind, consciousness, and psychic architecture. These mutants do not simply read or influence thoughts, they dominate the entire spectrum of mental reality. The most iconic example is Jean Grey, representing the highest form of telepathy and telekinesis. Her omega potential allows her to perceive minds across planetary or interstellar distances, alter memories on a species-wide scale, and generate telekinetic force equal to celestial impact events. Her psionic range is effectively infinite, limited only by her physical or emotional state. Another example is Quentin Quire, whose telepathic abilities include constructing psychic dimensions, generating independent mental life forms, and controlling vast networks of minds with absolute precision. His omega power is not limited to communication or projection. He can overwhelm the psychic defenses of entire populations, manipulate the astral plane, and dominate psychic events spanning multiple realities. Level 5 represents omega mutants whose minds function as global or cosmic-scale consciousness engines, capable of reshaping thought, will, identity, and perception across massive distances. Level 6. Omega-level biological and evolutionary masters. Level 6. Omega mutants manipulate life itself, genetics, evolution, biological function, and organic architecture. These mutants can reshape species, rewrite DNA, or control the processes of birth, death, and mutation. Elixir stands at the pinnacle of this level. His omega healing goes far beyond regeneration. He can rewrite biological systems, cure any disease, regrow limbs, alter genetic expression, or instantly kill by inducing catastrophic biological failure. His powers operate at molecular, cellular, and systemic levels simultaneously, making him a living evolutionary catalyst. Hope Summers also belongs in this tier due to her ability to replicate and amplify mutant powers, effectively becoming a biological mirror to every omega mutant around her. Her mutation allows her to elevate abilities beyond their usual limits, making her a wildcard whose power ceiling is theoretically infinite. This level demonstrates that omega power is not restricted to destruction. It can also represent evolutionary perfection, adaptability, and the ability to control the processes that define life. Level 7. Omega-level reality architects. Level 7 is the highest level of omega mutation. Individuals whose powers transcend physics, time, space, and biology to rewrite reality itself. These mutants do not bend the universe. They author it. The most powerful omega mutant in this class is Franklin Richards, whose mutation gives him the ability to create universes, rewrite physical laws, generate cosmic beings, and alter the fabric of existence at will. His power exceeds any measurable limit. He can design new realities, resurrect or erase life forms, stabilize collapsing timelines, and create pocket universes populated with self-sustaining ecosystems. Another reality architect is Proteus, whose powers allow him to twist matter, energy, identity, and spatial logic into new forms. His mutation destabilizes physical law around him, warping the environment and altering the very rules governing matter. Level 7. Omega mutants are unique because their abilities are infinite by design. They do not operate within the universe. They operate over it. They are not cosmic entities, but their mutation allows them to perform cosmic acts normally reserved for higher dimensional beings. These mutants represent the highest possible form of Omega power, the ability to define what reality is. Across all 7 levels, Omega mutants reveal the full spectrum of what mutant evolution can become, from elemental masters to universal authors. Their abilities exceed the limits of physics, biology, and even reality itself, demonstrating why the Omega classification stands at the peak of mutant potential. Each level reflects a different aspect of infinite growth: raw power, control over physics, mastery of timelines, evolution of consciousness, and the ability to create or destroy universes at will. If you want more deep, fully accurate breakdowns of Marvel and DC's most powerful beings, cosmic hierarchies, and multiversal classifications, make sure to subscribe to Explained Comics. And let me know in the comments, which Omega level mutant level fascinates you the most? The best answers will be featured in a future video.